those SDGs and the social good. So on that note, let me call on stage, let me invite Dr. Kwe Wo Reinhard, who's the co-founder and director of Dhealth Foundation. She'll be joining us online. So can we have her online, please, if she's there? Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. So yeah, please, I would like to.
From the airport.
All right. Please,
Thanks.
Dr. Reinhard, stage is yours. You can take the mic. Yeah.
I have microphone.
Okay, perfect.
And the laser point. Where's the laser point? Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, Europe, and good evening for those who join from Asia. My name is Gui Vo Reinhard, director and co-founders of the Dhealth Foundation. Today, we would like to present to you the most powerful blockchain for healthcare framework and from Switzerland. Just before going to detail, raise your hand if you believe those with so much effort, the healthcare sector needs some upgrading because there's so much inefficient, there's so much middleman that costs so much money and it can be improved. I think it's 100%. In terms of numbers, it will cost us by 2022 10 trillion US dollar just because of the inefficiency. And thanks to the gentleman before, that we talk about the health data, that's how difficult for the patient to even to own their data, how difficult for all of the healthcare providers, even hospital, your doctor to access and to reach out and to researcher to get to the patient's data. And that's why we are here to provide the most leading framework for healthcare in the industry for on-card partners can block and play. And the framework consists of the L1 infrastructure. So as individual developers, healthcare providers, or pharma hospital can just plug and play with this. We have the team of each of us more than 15 years in the industry, and we are joined by universities and lately by the most largest pharma Roche in Switzerland and other more than 16 partners internationally. So here we don't talk about the potential, how blockchain can resolve the issue in healthcare sector. We talk about the real use case. We have the, there's no laser pointer. We have the active application, for example, incentivized treatment monitoring with Roche and with National Lungs Hospital in Vietnam to incentivize patients to following and adhering the program. We have the tracking and tracing vaccine in Africa together with Swiss TBS. We have the health certificate with Roche and PCR test with LabChain in Ukraine. And of course, there's any other blockchain infrastructure, we have skating. And the other module we have completed is the COVID-19 tracing and tracking last year. Under development, lately we have joined by OrganX in Paris group, the largest organ transplant in the world. And we also have in development the supply chains, medications, tracking, and healthy lifestyle to incentivize people to have the healthy lifestyle and then convert these activities into tokens. And in the futures, of course, digital contract and stablecoin. As said before, the framework consists for all of the partners, stakeholders in the system, include patient. Here, when I say patient, it doesn't mean you are the patient. Any of us owe health data, and your health is your wealth. So the health data it's not about patient, but the healthy people too. The healthcare provider, of course, pharma, medtech, and we talk about remove the middleman, but try to remove the middleman is difficult, but instead we include them to join the decentralized system so that no farmer, no big stakeholder can control the whole system. That's our approach. Of course, research and academia, which is our most major partners here. And we have so many components here. Anyone can just plug and play via our framework, and then they can use a token. They can use as to pay in as utility token, skating, and payment to stakeholder, to the patients. Just for example, one of the use case we have in Vietnam for the tuberculosis patient. What happened is normally the treatment have to happen for 9 months, but like 6 months, 2 months, the patient feel, okay, I'm getting better, so they just withdraw from the treatment. And there's no way to trace and track them, and actually they not really recover. So to incentivize to really follow up the whole journey, the whole treatment, every activities they have to do, they record in the system, and then they get reward. In the end, they can redeem those tokens as the free scanning, X-ray scanning for the lung in the hospital. And by this, we incentivize the patient to really follow up. The similar use case in Ukraine for hemophilia patients, but there they redeem as the Uber trip. So you, in a way, control your health data, decide to share with your hospital, and in the end, you can redeem in services. Of course, in those countries where it can, where the cryptocurrency is legal, then they can exchange it in fiat. Another use case is the certificates and vaccine pass. That we all be here have the vaccine pass, but you know there's so many companies now on internet trying to sell it fake one, and we can have the solution here that's immutable. You cannot fake it, and it's trackable and traceable with the module block, place and plug, and we are in discussion to one of the governments because we didn't get the final signature yet, so I cannot say which government, but to implement this as a module in their PHR, Personal Health Record app, so that the patients, the people with the vaccine pass can have it on blockchain. I mean the transaction and the certificate. So the network partners are joined by mostly many universities in Switzerland, by Roche, and by NEM, and recently by one university in Japan, where they do the also the the organs transplant. And the team consists of people in the really working in the long term in healthcare sector in software development. Join us in Telegram if you are excited about the application or you want to develop any application plug and place for your application. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Reinhard. Thank you so much for sharing all the use cases of how blockchain is impacting health sector in whole. I would like to ask you to take your seat so that we can have the next presentation. So our next presentation will be presented by our presenter, Kevin Tharayil, who will be joining us online and who looks after the strategy, partnership, policy, and business development at Celo. So we would like to, I'm sorry? Okay, so, okay, no worries. So meanwhile, if I can ask Dr. Quay, if sorry that if we can use that precious time of yours, and if we can ask you a few questions, if you can come on stage. And meanwhile, I would like to ask you that how do you perceive blockchain as an important element, and what all sectors it can impact? Not just health, not just climate change, but there are many use cases of blockchain. So where all do you think that this can be used? Blockchain can be used as as accelerator to such social and the pressing issues that humanity is facing. So, okay, I would like to ask you, Dr. Reinhard, what do you think that how can a normal person, like you have shown us the use cases of blockchain, right, and how it can be impactful in terms of achieving global overall health. How do you think it can be accessible by like are they use cases the ones that you've shared with us? Is it easy to use, because blockchain as a technology is quite new, right? And many people have just seen it in a very limited context of cryptocurrencies, but then how is it impacting health? I would like to know your insights on that.
Yeah, so I think blockchain is not so new, but to the mass adoption, it needs much more time. So Gartner has the chart if any of you interested in blockchain and the applications. They have the plot of which in industry need how many years to reach to maturities, and actually healthcare is one of the most difficult sectors. I need more than 10 years to get to maturities, and now we are just in the exploring area. And to reach to the point of mass adoption for every for every people, I think we just have to show how's the use case. Because in the end of the day, like most of us see, every one of us using internet, we use so much every day, is our daily, but how many people know, how many of us using a lot of apps with internet, but we don't really know what happened behind the protocol and so on. So that's the status that blockchain can be reached in the futures, that we actually just provide the service for good. Then, and the developers, of course, have to understand the back end behind. But, and also for the mass adoption, I think most importantly, because a lot of, we did the stronger collaboration between governments. Don't say we remove the middleman governments, because in the end of the day, if you want to have cryptocurrency, you have the listing and exchange and so on. So we need the collaboration between the government, the institution, research, and also the use case to the people. And when the people see, okay, it's really useful for the people, they will use it.
Absolutely. I see governments as very important stakeholder in the implementation of these services. But then how, as you rightly said, blockchain is not new, right? But then as we're seeing the use cases, what is the time frame, as you can, if you can just think in your head, like how soon can it be available for everyone else?
Blockchain as the industry, I have no answer. It's
Yeah.
really difficult. But blockchain in different areas, sector, I just focus on the healthcare sector. I think we are, so if the reaching to the maturity, we are climbing up. So you see most of the farmer now, they already join many infrastructure, and they are exploding. Before, like 5 years before, when I go to pitch different farmer or even to WHO to convince the tuberculosis cases, and the first thing we have to try to convince them what is blockchain. But now after 5 years, I don't have to explain to anyone why we need the blockchain. But then we are more focusing on the use case and what we can do to the patient. And importantly, the government now also, the patient, the people now, they are more aware that, okay, the data privacy is important, and now we have the means and the tools can help us to protect our health data, or can help us to get the traceability or the transparency of the use case. For example, the supply chains, the drugs, the medicine, and so on. And that is important to get to the where we want to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that with your efforts and what you're doing with Dhealth, I'm sure we'll be able to achieve that very soon. So thank you so much for those answers. And please take your seat. I think Kevin is there with us online.
Yeah,
thank you so much. So Kevin, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay,
Hey,
great.
hi,
So
everyone.
welcome online. Thank you so much for joining us online. And stage is all yours. Please let us know that how Celo is helping blockchain to achieve social good. Thank you.
Sure. Just give me a second before I share my screen. Um, Hi, everyone. Unfortunately, I can't be there, but I hope my presentation will cover some ground for us to maybe talk a bit more about social good with blockchain. Can you see my screen? Okay. Sorry. Right. Just for context, I lead the Celo Foundation grants program, and Celo is a mobile-first blockchain, and I'll go into that a bit more in detail. And a lot of the work that we do is trying to figure out how blockchain can work with mobile devices. So this includes smartphones as well as feature phones. For smartphones, we have our own wallet called the Ballora app, and this is basically if you are in the US, have used something like Venmo, you can easily send and receive payments, send and receive dollars, if you're using any other kind of mobile payments solutions in your region, it's quite similar in that way in terms of experience. So user experience is a big part of the Celo journey. The mission of the Celo organization is to build a financial system that creates conditions for prosperity for everyone. And that's also the reason why a lot of the work that we do is what would be categorized as blockchain for social good. I spoke about mobile payments and mobile devices. And if you look at this graph, you'll see that in 2019, there were 8 billion active mobile users. And out of this, you can see that almost 6 billion of them were actually mobile users who were having 3G or more powerful smartphone features. And this number is expected to grow further. So we expect only around 17% of devices in 2025 to be 3G or less in terms of features that it supports. Talking about that, Celo as a blockchain, it's a mobile-first blockchain, and it's ideal for payments. And it's a fork of Ethereum. It's a fork of Go Ethereum client, and it's designed by founders from MIT. Celo as a blockchain is trying to achieve scale, and because payments is a big part of what Celo is trying to do, especially with mobile devices. And we are on target to achieve 1,000 transactions per second this year. And in terms of the developer ecosystem, we are a top 10 chain. We have more than 1,000 developers, around 1,500 developers who are actively building, and a much larger ecosystem. It's a mission-driven blockchain, as you can already see, and we're also endorsed by the World Bank. Celo is ideal for payments because it takes 5 seconds to complete a payment. So if I send a payment to someone in the audience here, if one of you can give me your mobile number, we can actually execute the transaction in 5 seconds. And also, it's ideal for payments because we are supporting dollar and euro as stable value assets on chain right now. And there are more, currencies that will be added in time. The cost of transaction, that is, of cost of sending these payments, is very low. It's just $0.01. So if you compare that to other payment solutions, it usually costs between, say, 1% to 3%. So in this case, it's very low. Celo is also borderless because you can be sitting anywhere and you can make these payments using the Ballora app without facing any difficulties or any other costs for settlements or for any kind of middleman costs that usually occur. I was just talking about our ecosystem. So we have close to 55,000 people in the community right now. We have more than 200 folks in the ecosystem. The chain itself is very active because it's a lot based on mobile as well as other web apps. So the wallet supports that Celo has is not just Ballora, but there are also web wallets that support Celo, including MetaMask. So the number of transactions that are on chain is actually quite high. It's around 36 million, and there are 1 million unique wallet addresses on Celo at the moment. So we think of ourselves as the most global ecosystem in crypto. We have builders in 113 countries around the world. And the ecosystem is also pretty large in terms of official partnerships that we have. So we have more than 140 members in the Celo Alliance for Prosperity. This is an alliance of organizations that have come together to work on the mission that we have for creating conditions for prosperity for everyone. So this includes large organizations like Deutsche Telekom, Opera, which is a web browser, which also has a crypto wallet. It also includes organizations like Mercy Corps or Grameen Foundation. All of these organizations have a reach of more than 500 million in terms of their own communities. So diving straight into blockchain for social good, because the theme is Asia and Berlin, so I thought I'll just focus on Asia with some of the use cases. And I'm taking more time in terms of focusing in one region because we have quite a few use cases. So this is in the Philippines, we live in the time of pandemic. I'm addressing to you, I'm presenting here remotely, and I thought that that's something that I could talk about a bit. So if you look at the times that we live in at the moment, one of the challenges that we face is how do you provide relief aid during the COVID time, and a lot of it is focused on how to actually include the people who are marginalized from the mainstream. In this case, there are a couple of partners where we are working with. So we are working with Impact Market, which is a decentralized poverty alleviation protocol, which basically means that you can, as a holder of CUSD, use their platform to donate or to unconditionally transfer amounts, on an ongoing basis, as and when you desire. And the beneficiaries, on the other hand, they get a certain universal basic income every week. So I can just give you an examples of two of these projects that we're doing with loom weavers and also with micro entrepreneurs. So this is with loom weavers in the northern part of Philippines. In this case, it's a full, it's a women cooperative, and 95% of the folks in that cooperative are unbanked. They're traditional loom weavers and who have been very reliant on tourism. And because of COVID, obviously tourism got disrupted. So what Impact Market does is that, so as a holder of CUSD, I can go on Impact Market and put money, and Impact Market sends, on a weekly basis, $10 weekly to these women in the cooperative. So the cooperative has worked with these women to have them install the Ballora app on their phone, so they can actually just receive this USD in their wallets. So this provides a very user-friendly way to be introduced to cryptocurrency rather than having to go through the hoops of actually setting up a wallet, learning how to connect to an RPC network. And it just makes life easier. And yeah, so this is just an example of a loom weaver who's talking about how she used to put all her money in a traditional jar, but now she has the money on her phone. And this actually allowed women to, as I said, receive payments through Valora, but also to think about, how they can actually address the markets, not just in Philippines, which is in their case very tourism reliant. So they were able to use another partner in the Alliance for Prosperity, Paychan, to set up an online store to be able to sell, their textiles, their clothing to markets outside the Philippines. Another example is Montalback Action Group. Again, this is a group of, it's a partner that we are working with, and in this case, these were women who have an average family income which is below $60, which is lower than which is basically the poverty line in Philippines. And these are micro entrepreneurs who have been affected by COVID because they cannot conduct their day-to-day businesses. They don't have customers. So in this case, similarly, there's a support which is given weekly of, in this case, $12. So this allowed them to actually, restart their business, refinance their business. And by the third week itself, of receiving these UBIs, they actually started donating to, the community kitchen in their villages. Yeah, I mean, these are very transformative images, because what happens is that the women receive the money in their wallets, and they are able to circulate it within the different enterprises which are actually also getting these funds in their wallets. So you can actually have like a circulating economy of cryptocurrency within these within these groups of people. One very quick and last example is with the Grameen Foundation, and here we are looking at supporting an ecosystem of entrepreneurs. So in this case, Philippines is known for having a pretty large migrant community, and because of pandemic, a lot of folks had to return back. They were repatriated. So in this case, we were trying to figure out how to actually work with these groups of people. And with the Grameen Foundation, what we did is that we created a sort of a scheme through having the workers receiving CUSD in their wallets. They were able to buy something called as a kabuhayan package, which basically means a livelihood package in Filipino. And these packages consisted of different kinds of equipments, tools, and with that also, there was also a capacity building which was done to, help them to figure out how to create new products, to create more value-added things. And then these things are sold, to another provider, a buyer called EcoLife, which basically works as a marketing cooperative. And in this sort of flow, you can see that as they're able to create products, they're able to sell it, and then they receive again for the goods that they created CUSD back in their wallets. And in a similar way, you can also receive these packages and market and sell those products and receive CUSD in your wallet. So this provides a very flexible payment solution for small businesses, because you can actually use these kabuhayan packages to start chicken farming or hog raising or even a coffee shop. And this basically makes it more sustainable, because you are getting that seed capital that allows you to start something or to continue something that you're already doing, and make sure that these products can also have a market, because EcoLife allows you to sort of connect you to the last mile. So yeah, I will just stop there. I've been speaking for more than 10 minutes, I think, but this is just to give you a picture of what Celo is and what Celo has been doing in terms of blockchain for social good. if you guys want to get in touch, this is the website, and also just a link to our ecosystem overview. We also have a hackathon that actually is starting today, opportunistically enough. So if you are interested, you may also want to take a look at that. And yeah, I'm reachable on kevin@celo.org in case of if you have any questions or if you want to get in touch, feel free to reach out. Yeah, that's my presentation. So happy to chat if there are any questions.
Hi, thank you so much for that lovely presentation, Kevin. It was nice to see that how Celo is impacting so many lives and at such grassroots levels, helping entrepreneurs and micro entrepreneurs and empowering them with this payment solution. So thank you so much. I'm pretty sure there'll be more use cases and there'll be wider adoption across whole Asia and maybe sometime soon at a global scale. So thank you so much. So on that note, I would like to thank all the presenters who have given their insightful presentations, and it was so informative, at least for me. I love learning so much and how blockchain is impacting so many lives. And as Kevin also rightly said, that not just at Asian from the Asian perspective, but also from the global perspective. So on that note, I would like to